All right, so it's 8:05. We're gonna go ahead and get started with the new members orientation. My name is Jesus Dominguez, and I'm one of the admins, instructor to Trey. And the purpose of tonight is to introduce the new members to our Discord and the different trading strategies that we have and we use every single day for our trading and analysis. So I'm not going to go a lot into detail on each and every single one of the strategies. I have a 2-hour recording for the ORB strategy. So obviously that video will be made available to the members. So you can watch the recording and familiarize yourself with the strategy. But I am going to cover a little bit about the opening range breakout strategy tonight. We're also going to talk about the S2T weekly options. And not going to go in detail about the process, but I am going to highlight a few things so you know exactly what we do to select those options and what we do to adjust when we need to adjust after the market is in progress. So obviously we do these things on a Sunday, and we have to adapt to the market conditions, and we do that as necessary. We also have our index algo strategies, which we're going to cover a little bit of that. Obviously, we have a whole session for that. And I think we're going to obviously record a series of videos that will help us explain the strategies a little better, although the algo strategy has been fully documented. So one thing that we're going to do is to centralize all the learning resources so members don't have to look around and perhaps miss a piece of information that is very important. Last but not least, we have our patterns for futures trading, in which we'll also use two different versions of the ORB breakout strategy. We use obviously the short time frame strategy in conjunction with the longer time frames, which allows to look at the market from a different perspective. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the weekly options from structure to trade. So the weekly options basically is a process in which we use several different scanners to identify certain patterns in the market. It's based on a weekly pattern that we look for and certain behaviors that we're trying to identify with the symbols that we would like to trade. So we run that scanner every single Saturday or Sunday. It normally spits out anywhere between 15 to 25 symbols. I think it was 1 week that we got 42 symbols or 43. So it really all depends on the market behavior for the week, and that's really what determines the amount of symbols that we will get. Obviously, a lot of movement in the market will create certain conditions that might be favorable to us as we transition into a new week. So after we run the scanners, the results get analyzed, obviously, to identify patterns within the symbols, and also to identify technical analysis, specifically CCI and all the different strategies that we have and we use on a daily basis to identify the strength and the weaknesses. And also there is an extensive research process that goes into selecting a particular contract based on algorithms that will help us to maximize the profit for our subscribers. So it's a very extensive process. It's not just waiting for a scanner to generate a contract after the market opens on Monday. Not being critical of the people that trade that way, but we like to put some thought into it, and we are very meticulous about the way that we pick our contracts and the way that we decide to trade them. So we definitely pride ourselves in the process, the pattern, and the platform. That's basically the 3 Ps that we implement in everything that we do. But I don't want to bore you with that. So, so that's the process that we go in identifying the options that you see in this particular watch list here. So these are the options that we have selected, and you'll see them over here in this particular area. These are the symbols that we share with you on Sunday. Some of you guys wanted to take a look at it ahead of time, so we did that, and we'll like to continue to do so, providing you with those symbols so you can do your own due diligence and be ready for it. So once they're loaded into a watch list, I want to discuss a little bit about what you see in our watch list, and it's very specific. So I personally like to record the price for the weekly open. So this is the opening price for the week, and for that particular contract. And I like to see the last price that it was traded. I also like to see the change in the value. So you can see today was 53.99%. That's the closing of the day. You can get to see the bid and the ask spread, the volume, and the amount of contracts that we're trading. So let me double check here. It doesn't look like you're. Can somebody tell me where are you seeing on the screen right now?
Just the start of your opening desktop is all I see.
Okay. And what do you see now?
Oh, there you go. We got it.
Okay. All right. So you didn't miss anything. I didn't have anything on the screen because I wanted to make sure that we were focused on what I was saying. So now that we have this, let me recap real quick the watch list. So as you can see in my screen now, in here, we have a list of symbols that we selected. The name I put here is S2T options for 719. So we create the watch list for this on a Sunday. All the symbols get loaded in here. I personally like to record the weekly opening price, which goes here. And all these columns here, what they do is record the last price, the change, the bid, and the ask, the volume, and the open interest, which is very important to understand what we have. And most importantly, our proprietary system to determine the trend on those particular options contract. So keep in mind that this is specifically to the contract what you're seeing here. And I would briefly give you an overview of what this particular columns here mean once we go into the ORB session. So that's basically what the watch list looks like. I also personally track the underlying for all the different symbols that we trade in the options, because we're selecting a particular contract here, but the underlying may be moving a little different, or I just like to keep check on what's going on with the actual symbol, as opposed as just tracking the contract. I also track the unusual activity inside the contract or the underlying that we got here. Even though we have a particular contract that we want to trade, I also track the activity in every single contract that meets my criteria for the scanner in this particular unusual activity scanner, which is very powerful. In some cases, you're going to see the same contract that we intend to trade being shown in here. In other cases, you're going to see a different contract that might be a little different from what we selected. That helps me to determine whether we can participate in a scalp, small trade, swing trade, and so forth. So it just let me know the flow of that particular underlying, so I can focus on what's happening inside that particular symbol. I also have scanners in here that track a 15-minute reversal on the underlying. Those are the orange arrows that you see here, and the magenta arrows. I don't track the magenta arrows currently. I only track the orange arrows because we most of the times are looking for long positions. So we will do that, but in the future, I will code the magenta arrows as well, because they are as important depending on the market condition. So those are the different watch lists, which are 3 of them. I am committed to obviously share one of them with the members, which is the one with all the symbols that we intend to trade. Obviously, that it's something that you have to use a lot of discretion with and follow the process to get into the trade. It's not something that you can just go blindly into, just enter into every single position that is in there. Obviously, you can do that if you choose to. There is a lot of guidance being given by the team, every single week. So there might be an opportunity for us to buy all of them. It really depends on the market conditions. But obviously, as Professor will say, buy one, buy two, buy all, buy none, or just watch. So it's really up to the trader. That's the reasons why we don't necessarily provide trading alerts, even though you get basically all of my entries. So if you want to consider that an alert, you can, but it's not a trading advice, because I'm not a financial advisor to provide trading advice. I can just give you the opportunity to share a setup, something that I'm personally doing myself, and let you take it from there. Obviously, any questions you have, I answer them, or anybody in the team can answer them for sure. Also, if you're actively trading one particular stock, let us know. We'll make it part of our review process. I don't have a problem looking at something that is important to you. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're servicing our members to the best of our abilities. So that's basically is the selection process that goes into play. Obviously, there's a lot of analysis behind closed doors that goes into. We don't necessarily share the analysis because we want to keep our information in-house, obviously. So I wouldn't want, a 45-minute video that was completed, a lot of work went into it, to be shared out there. We'll probably play it or share bits and pieces during our analysis. But when we look at our contracts, we want to make sure we're making the right decisions for our members. So that's what goes in here. So that's basically it for the selection process and the thought process for the watch list and the S2T weekly options. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the ORB opening range breakout strategy. And I actually have, one particular symbol here, which is pretty common. So I got Apple right on my screen. But before we go into that, I want to talk a little bit about the components very briefly of the opening range breakout. So most importantly, on the upper left-hand corner here, you're going to have 3 labels. You're going to have a 5-minute label, a 15-minute label, and a 30 minutes. We'll also track SPX pricing, VIX pricing, and SPY pricing. So that's, I like to keep an eye on those because sometimes when we're talking in futures about, tracking prints and things like that. So you want to know where SPY price is without having to switch over to a different chart or a different watch list. So this is what I call trend labels right here. And there will be a PDF that I'm creating, sharing all these things, trend labels. So the opening range breakout is a strategy that is not new. It's been around for a very long time. So what it does, and the way that I have it set up, is that it tracks the first 30 minutes of trading. So this section right here is the first 30 minutes of trading. I'm going to highlight this session right here. As you can see, that is the first 30 minutes. So if you take a look at the low in the first 30 minutes, it comes right here at 145.82, which is a market right here, 145.81. And the high comes around 147 even, which is the green line on the top. With that being said, I'm going to delete this area. So the market runs for the first half an hour. Oftentimes you're going to hear me say, hey, wait for the opening range levels to be set. That's what I mean. Allow the time for the market to open and do what it has to do and show you the way the market wants to go and see which way you want to play. So if I have to judge by what I'm looking in my screen right now, when Apple opened this morning, all the labels were green. I can tell by obviously this green line over here, because I'm looking at a 5-minute chart. Green line here means green over here. Same thing in 15 minutes. If you want to see the 15 minutes, you switch to 15 minutes and you'll be able to see where the red line is in 15 minutes. So I'm just quickly going to switch over, and 15 minutes red is going to be right around here. So I'm going to put a little mark on the red. So in order for Apple to turn that particular label into a green label, it needs to break this right here, which is 147.95. You have a marker right there. So breaking above that, it will give you a green 15 minutes. So we're going to switch back to the 5 minutes, and here we are. So the moment we broke below the 5 minutes here, it actually turned red. So those are things to keep in mind when we're trading this. But most importantly, the yellow line that you see here is the first 5 minutes candle. So if you look at the candle for 9:30, this candle right here is a 9:30 candle. So the first 5 minutes, you have a visual here helping you at 146.31. A lot of people like to trade this particular strategy, and you can trade it in 3 different ways. You can trade it aggressive, moderately, and conservatively. So what I mean by that is that an aggressive trader can potentially use the 5-minute candle strategy. Remember, none of this has happened. You can wait. You don't have to wait until that happens if you're an aggressive trader. There is a strategy that you can use, which is the break above the 5-minute candle and the retest. What I mean by that, 5-minute candle opens, goes up, comes back and retest right over here. Remember, you don't have this visual here, the red line. So you have to look for clues where will your stop loss will be. In this case, if you ask me as a trader, I would probably have a stop right over here on this pink line, which is the overnight low or the previous close. And then you can have your entry right over here. This line actually was a very nice entry if you did. So you could have taken advantage of that move right there, which was a move that was anywhere between $1.70. The preferred method to trade this is actually wait for the retest, wait for the levels to get set, wait for the retest. So right over here, wait for the retest of the level. In this case, we're looking either at the green line or the yellow line. Wait for the retest and take a long position. You can do that as well. Another way you can do it is you can draw your Fibonacci retracements, and normally in a nice uptrend, You can use a 38.2 or you can use the 50. The golden zone is a 61.8, which can be identified in here. If you want to be moderately conservative about that, and if you want to be super conservative about your entry, you wait for the orange arrow to come up, and that will give you an entry. Obviously, the targets identified by the system automatically is going to generate targets for you, as you can see here, first TP. So that's basically what the ORB opening range breakout strategy is about. It's going to show you levels that are tradable, levels that can be used as visual references to take trades. You can do that for options contracts as well. It's a little bit more messy when you look at the options contracts, because you don't necessarily are looking at full candles. Sometimes the candles are not full based on the volume. And I will show you how one of the contracts will look in here. Let's just say, for example, when I switch over this one to 5, and this is the eBay contract from today, you can clearly see here that it doesn't look as clear. The candles are all over the place, and sometimes you don't see full candles. So it can be hard to see what's happening in that particular contract. Obviously, the time to buy was the aggressive time, which is right here. And you have a visual that actually help you to pull the trigger here around 9:40. And look how far that went. That went from 258 to 408. That was a phenomenal trade for us today, and the people that took it. Very good. So that's basically an overview of the ORB strategy. First 30 minutes, let the range set, green line, red line, and yellow line. Again, there is a 2-hour video that covers the ORB completely with a lot of questions and a lot of examples, and how to set it up from the very beginning and go deep into it. So that being said, let's go and talk about a little bit about the algos. So every single day we generate algos for the most of the indices that are out there. If you take a look at it, this is today. We get the XPX numbers, we get the SPY numbers, QQQ, IWM, and the Dow Jones right here. This is soon after the opening bell. You'll get all these numbers, and you get updates throughout the day. You know, if one is moving past the 1 sigma or 2 sigma, 3 sigma, 4, there will be a series of updates that are provided. But you know, as you know, this is a reference, and at the end of the day, that's a summary of what happened. You'll see that as well, so you can see by yourself what happened with the algo numbers. We highlight the closest to the pin and the farthest from the pin, so you can see the transparency of the numbers, and see basically which one was closest to the pin. And we normally track the SPX every day. We also have a well-documented strategy for how to trade the algos, where to enter, and what to do with it. Most recently, we developed also reversal zones, because obviously we understand that price doesn't necessarily come to a particular number. Price comes to a zone, and those zones are identified here, and they're also we also provide updates throughout the day regarding this. There's a lot of different ways to trade the algos. Obviously, there are other strategies that we are probably going to implement in the near future. But for now, like I said, we will provide a PDF in the learning resources section of how to go about utilizing the algos in your trading. So you can take advantage of that. I do want to show you something else here on my screen. I'm working on developing pretty much a chart that can show you all the different numbers and track your algos every day, so you don't have to necessarily look for a lot of information out there. You can basically put it in your chart and you can see how we have here come up. This is today's levels. You can see the 1 sigma high, you know, and the 1 sigma low. It's right over here. And inside in here, you see the ORB opening range breakout levels being plotted as well. I believe I bought right here today. So that was a great trade. I know some other people took that trade in the futures channel. So just know that this also is going to be available to you. And I will create a video for this one, but basically all you have to do in here is to come into the JD ORB algo. That's basically what the opening range breakout is. Professor algo is here. So you click the gear and all you have to do is just plug the numbers that are given to you around 9:33, 9:32 a.m., not too long after the opening. And you can manually enter those numbers in there. And those numbers will plot these lines that are highlighted over here. If you can see, this is the other 2 lines, sigma 2, that are plotted right here. So you can have a visual reference of how the algos are performing and the areas that are likely to be reversed. In this indicator, I don't provide reversal zones. The only thing that you can be able to see is the actual level of the algo, and you can install that particular indicator in any of the 5 symbols that we track. So that's basically it when it comes to this indicator here that I'm creating to track the algos and how they move. All right, so that's a strategy. There's a lot more to it, but again, I just want to give you a quick introduction to it so you know exactly what it is and it's there available to you. All right, so moving on, futures trading is part of a strategy as well. And I want to put in here the ES. So we mostly will utilize the ORB strategy to be able to create trades. Again, futures trading is a very active trading channel, and you know, a lot of information is sharing there. But futures trading, when it comes to structured to trade, what it will mean in the near future is an educational series of documentation and training that is going to cover some of the basic patterns that as a trader you should know how to trade and be aware of what to look for when you're navigating the market. So futures trading is going to be more than just what you see now. And when we get into our Discord, I will share a little more with you about our intentions with the futures trading section. But very active channel, a lot of information, a lot of experienced people in there sharing their knowledge, sharing their entries, including myself. When I take the trades, sometimes I share my entries, you know, and we just talk about it. So those are the 4 different strategies that we have in place. Yes, there is intention to in the future do a little more, but we want to build our room with those 4 different strategies as our core strategies for our members, because I think they're the most beneficial for you guys. That being said, I'm gonna put you and, you know, share my screen and show you our Discord here. And I get a lot of feedback that we have too many channels and there are things like that. But I want to show you that in reality there isn't a lot of channels, and this probably is a better way to navigate, and I'm open to feedback. But if as a user, you're not interested into receiving, alerts when something gets posted here in information, what you have to do is right click on that and mute the category until you turn it back on, and you'll never receive alerts for that. So that's just a simple trick that I can give you. But these are the categories for channels, right? So you get Launchpads. Obviously, there's nothing to do in there. Information, unless you have a question for us, and looking at the announcements, that is the only thing that actually is relevant to our premium members. Premium members, you have a trace idea. This channel is going to be view only going forward, and there's a little bit of commentary from admins, but the intention for this is to be view only. So when you come here as a user, you will see these screens. Those are my fills. You can see those are trades that actually took place. And you can see right here, these are real trades. This is my account right there. So you can see it. This is exactly the way that it should look. There should be very little commentary in there. So let's just say you weren't able to take a trade today, and you want to come back and take a look at it. You're able to come and catch up and see what's in there, and you may have a better entry than I did. So very important. I'm going to keep this trade ideas clean as possible. This is the premium members chat. Obviously, a lot goes on in here. You can talk about trade discussions, trades, random trades that are not part of the S2T weekly options. We can talk about them in here, like we talked about AMC and so forth. So those are just discussions in there. You can see tried a couple of alerts and so forth. There's a lot of discussion going on in there. So that is the premium chat. Weekly options, S2T weekly options. We have a commentary here. This is a read only to you. Everything that has the two little eyes here, those are read only to you. So this is a professor obviously sharing a lot of information regarding our picks and making some commentary here when we make adjustments. So it's a very, very neat process that he goes through it. He just basically breaks everything down, very detailed, entries and X's and suggestions and things like that. So this is a very, very good channel to keep an eye if you're actively trading the S2T options. Here's the performance. We have changed the reporting a little bit, so it looks a lot cleaner, neater, and more transparent. So you can see all of that. All the feedback is in there. He does like people to give him love. So when you see, posting here, just give him some love. But you can see the performance of all the different selected options that are in here. It doesn't mean that I traded all of them. It doesn't mean that Steve or Professor traded them. It just means that this is what we selected based on our process. Sometimes I don't have interest into enter a particular trade, and that's okay. You don't have to take them all. You can take what you think is necessary for you and your account. And this is actually a chat that you can ask any questions, anything that is related to the structure to trade weekly options. That's what goes in here. There's updated information here, volume, analysis, and things like that. There's a lot of work and a lot of detail going into this in here. So that's the second section that you see here. Now, this is the index algo strategy. So obviously everything that has the little eyes here is just a read only. View only it should be. I see that we have some commentary there, so I have to look into the roles and permissions for this channel. But you will see commentary in here, which is basically what it was designed to do, just commentary so you can keep up with what's going on in the algo strategy. Here's the performance. As you can see, 9:34 a.m. today was posted, and 4:31 today was updated. if you expand this, you will see that SPY was within 6 cents on the 1 sigma low, and you can see that the largest difference today was $1.44 on the IWM high. So he highlights in here the performance of the algos that were posted. Soon enough, you're gonna be able to see that this right here is only for XPX. Right now is in I'm testing some things, but you'll be able to see when one of the algo levels is being touched with a candle close in the vicinity of that number. So it'll be a notification here, like for example here, 1:10 p.m. SPX is crossing above the opening price, and you know what happens after that. After that, if you look at 1:10 p.m. In SPX, 1:10 p.m. XPX, it was crossing about the opening price. So a lot of good stuff happening after that. So the opening price was right over here. You can see today's open in this section. This is the candle at 1:10 p.m. right here. And from that point forward, we went from 61 to 69, it was 8 points. But if you were on a credit spread transaction, that was probably a good opportunity for you to stay in it. You know, if you want to put, or if you had a debit call like I did, I closed like somewhere around here somewhere. So it helps you to stay in position if you're tracking the performance of the SPX and you're not in front of a computer per se. Okay, so going back to our Discord, here we have futures trading. This is Steve commentary. Lots of videos. I mean, if you want to learn how to trade futures, this is a lot of information in here that it is very important. I watch these videos sometimes a couple of times a day. I make some notes on my charts and I discuss it with Steve sometimes and Professor, so I know exactly what we're looking at. This is his commentary in here. This is a futures trading channel. It's open to everybody that is a premium member. Lots of people. This was a trade I was referring to. You know, lots of information. Alex had a phenomenal trade today. So you know, a lot of good stuff happening in here. Some money being made in there as well. Here's the chat rooms here. We have a day trading commentary. This is becoming my favorite session. You know, if you take a look at, I will normally in the morning before the market opens, I will put my outlook for the day and what I'm looking at. I will post it over here and we'll be posting some updates throughout the day. Not just me, but also Professor and Steve. You're gonna see a couple updates, like for example, this one I posted. This played out beautifully today at 9:10. Specifically highlighted what I was looking at, and everything played out to perfection today. So general chat, so everybody here have access to that. Also, we have some general non-paying members. They're able to see the chat. They're not able to necessarily participate in the conversations, but I just want people to be able to, because we get some visitors from time to time, want them to be able to see that what we talk about and so forth. So sometimes we'll move the conversation over here so people can also see what we're talking about, a couple of videos and things like that. This is our private channels management office. Obviously, a lot of the things that I test go here, and our private chat goes in here. Options flow. This is the quant data alerts for unusual options, quant alerts, and golden sweeps. Just want to make a point that at any point we might be replacing quant data by another provider. I don't know. I'm always looking for opportunities to improve the service. So just know that you have access to flow channels, and you know the two commands that I normally use is stats, and I use flow. So you can type that in any channel and it will give you basically the statistics for SPY today. As you can see, there's a lot of puts being bought. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But if you want to know specific details, it will be in this particular screen right here. So you can see the time that it was purchased and everything that has to do with that. Very important here. So everybody has access to that. Please use it to your advantage. Trading education, this is where a lot of our videos will be posted, including the video that I'm recording tonight for orientation. It will go here in the learning resources, so you guys can see, basically what we do and how we do it, and some of the learning in there, some trades that I'm going to document and so forth. Here's a full strategy for how to trade the algos, and for you to be able to use it. Platform education, obviously, we'll have some things for platform education to show you guys, and we'll also have private mentorship. So depending on your goals and things that you want to do with your trading, obviously, you can request some private mentorship. And the voice channels, the lounge is open to everybody. Study rule number 1. Obviously, this is for premium members only, unless we invite other people. Premium members are the only ones that have access to that. This is basically a Discord right here. So it's pretty, there's really not much to it, to be honest with you. I eliminated, a few channels over the weekend, and yesterday I took off one more, and this is probably the leanest that I can have to try to keep everything separated. The S2T weekly options. If I was only providing alerts to people, then I wouldn't need all of this. I would just have one channel, trade this and trade that, close this and close that. So there's no need for organized materials, So I just wanted to make sure that the reasons why we have all of this is because it is important for us to be able to separate the content for your own benefit. So I know I went out a little fast covering some of the materials in here, but I wanted to make sure that I will give you, about 15 minutes for a Q&A. So you can go ahead and open up your microphone. And if you want to, put a question in the chat, you can do that. If you want to open up your video or you want to open up your microphone, this is time to do it. And I can answer any questions for 15 minutes so I can keep the video to an hour. This time is yours. Anybody?
That was an excellent presentation, JD.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Just trying to share a quick overview. Obviously, didn't go a lot into details about the strategies, but I feel that we have enough documentation. We're working very hard on organizing that documentation for you, because obviously it's more important to you than what it is to us. So thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
The watch list, how can we set up the watch list in TOS?
Okay, so one of the things that I said during the announcement was that after we finish the orientation tonight for the 1 hour, anybody who wants to stay on, I'm going to show you how to set it up, and we're going to record another video, so I can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I can just record the video how to set up the watch list.
Okay.
And you can add on the watch list, you can add your own symbols too. You don't have to just stick to what we are recommending that you watch. If you have something that you follow yourself, you can put it in there and the columns will populate automatically for you.
In the ORB, you mentioned the aggressive technique where you were looking at the first 5-minute candle.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then you kind of said there's a preferred. What's the most conservative way to use that?
Okay, so let me switch over. Let's just say I want to switch over to, I'm just going to pick the NQ, for example. Oh, this is a perfect chart. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I didn't know it was going to be this perfect, and I just happened to look at it. So the strategy that I recommend people to trade is the breakout and the retest. So obviously that in here, this hasn't happened. So none of this has happened as we open. Obviously, we're only looking at this right here, 5 minutes candle. The most conservative way to trade this is to wait for the market to set the levels. The market takes half an hour to set the levels, which is what we have here. This is the half an hour. So the levels get set in half an hour. At that half an hour, you're gonna get the green line on the top and you're gonna get the red line at the bottom. The best way to trade this is to wait for the breakout. Some people will say, play the breakout right here. So you see this here. There's a breakout label in here. And this breakout label moves a lot. So that breakout label in the morning time was right over here. As soon as you get a close candle above the green line, you're gonna get a breakout label because it's telling you that it's breaking out. Obviously, it can continue up this way, and that's how you get this line here telling you that this is the take profit number 1. So you haven't, something telling you, okay, if you break out here, this is probably as far as you're gonna go in the first shot. So I personally wait for this to happen because that's gonna be tied up into the next topic that we're gonna talk about with futures, which is the ABCD pattern. So I wait for this. This is my favorite trade ever. I wait for that arrow pointing down. Obviously sometimes it will happen over here. If this orange arrow was here, your entry would have been here. And I'm gonna say the reasons why. Your entry would have been right here, and your stop would have been below the yellow line, which is this candle here. You put your stop below it. So that is a big stop if I'm only going for this as a target number 1. So the ideal trade, which this was perfect, and I've done this many times, that's why we have to be patient. This is the best trade. And the reason why I say it is because if you look at this trade, the risk was only 15 points because I would enter right here at the yellow line and I would be putting a stop below the red line. So that was basically a 20 points, basically a stop, and your target was super high because from here to here, remember, you already have that white line on the top right here. And that is that's 42. That's 90 points right there. And you're only risking from 56 to, let's just call it 36. You're risking 20 points in the NQ. So for almost 100 points. So that's a great trade. This is the go-to trade. Now, what would you do in the scenario here? If you have 2 ways to go about this. This is the proper way to, this is obviously the most, this is the moderate trade, not the aggressive. The aggressive would be catching it right here. If the price was to come back down from the bottom, coming back up in the red. I'm going to show you real quick. I don't want to take a lot of time on this one, but I do owe you an explanation on this one. So here, like I said, best trade. The aggressive trade would have been if this was to come down here to the previous close, go back up here, retest this, and then go. Why do I call that aggressive trade? Because it's coming from the bottom. You will have a breakdown label. The moment the candle closed below the red line, it would say breakdown, and then you will get a target printed just like you have over here. There'll be a target because you have the previous close here. It's pretty much going to act like a magnet. Its price is coming down this way. So that is the aggressive going right here, because the price broke down already. So there's no much guarantees it's gonna go back up because your initial target is going to be the yellow line here, which is a small target, or it's gonna be the top of the range, which is right there. So that's basically the aggressive. Moderate, it would be this one right here, and conservative would be taking a trade right over here, which is the way that the opening range breakout supposed to work, because this is a breakout of the range. It just happens that I had traded this enough to be able to teach you that you can trade it 3 different ways. Now, very important, while we're talking about the breakout, when price is in here between the green line and the red line, it's going to give you an orange in your 30 minutes opening range breakout column, which is this one right here, first one on the left. That's going to be orange. If price is over here below the red line, it's going to be red. If price is above, it's going to be green. So if you look at this, let's just say, for example, I pull up eBay. eBay is going to be green because it's all the way up here. What price is in here is orange, below is going to be red. All right. So hopefully I explained that correctly, and you can see the 3 different type of trades that you can take. Now, your entry, you can wait for it right here, or you can wait until the orange arrow comes. And what I normally do, I wait for that to come here in this particular candle, and then I put my limit order 50% of that candle, which is right there. So we have going up this way, come down. There's a little bit of drawdown here, okay, but it went back up and it took off. So that basically is the way that I do when the arrows come out. All right. Any other question? We got about a few more minutes left. Steve, I'm not sure if you want to share any commentary.
You've done a beautiful job. If you want me to cover something, I'll be happy to. But you've done a great job on it tonight.
I appreciate it, sir. I appreciate it. So just to wrap it up, since we don't have many more questions in here. So the preferred pattern that we're going to be trading, or that we are currently trading, is the ABCD. So with the ABCD pattern, obviously impulse, retracement, impulse, that's what the ABCD means. And when you ask me what was my favorite trade or the most conservative way to trade this, I confidently can tell you that, you know, you don't really have, you can be aggressive. I always look at risk reward. What I mean by risk reward is that I look at where my entry is and where my stop is going to be. That's what I kind of visualize that before I enter. But if you take a look at this, and the way I measure FIPS, it might be a little different. You know, so I go here, then I go look at my high point, which was right over here. Then my target number 1 is minus 27.2, and my target number 2 is minus 61.8. And it just happened that we hit the 27, right? Over here in this zone, which is just above the TP1. TP2 was generated over here. The moment that you hit TP1, you get TP2, which is right up here. And if you take a look at this, if I was trading the NQ today, I will have a contract ready to be closed 14,982, which just hit it by the tick. It just went to 84. That's the way I use my FIPS. And the entry here was, I added this one. I never pay attention to the 70%. I just started paying attention to it. And it just happened that the 70% was perfectly aligned with the yellow line. That's like the answer to the test. It was like giving. It was for you. This was the easiest trade that you could probably imagine, with 20 points of risk. So with that being said, if there's no more questions, it's 1 minute to 9 o'clock, actually just 9 o'clock right now. I'm going to stop this recording so I can go ahead and work on creating the watch list because it's something that everybody wants to see. So I wanted to make sure that I cover that in here. So with that being said, you don't have to go anywhere. I'm just gonna go ahead and stop the recording and then restart it again. And that way I don't have to get out of the channel or do anything else. It's just pretty much